Once we understand our profoundly unique, creative, but also challenging, burdensome condition as thinking and interpretive beings, we are faced with deciding how best to make sense out of what William James once described as this blooming, buzzing confusion of unfiltered human experience. There's all this information. But what do we do with it? What do we do with all of these facts? How do we make sense of them? Here, critical thinking directs us to think rationally. Thinking rationally, of course, by itself can just become another buzzword without any clear meaning, other than it means think like I do, which is very often how it's used, which is also the case with critical thinking. You're not a critical thinker because you don't share my opinions. Thinking rationally means, first of all, taking responsibility to justify yourself. Explaining how or why you came to a particular conclusion. On what grounds? It's unfortunate that in a society so focused on the notion of self-reliance, we forget that Unitarian Ralph Waldo Emerson, what he meant by the concept when he wrote an essay by the title of Self-Reliance in 1841. Because what he meant was not economic self-reliance. He was talking about intellectual self-reliance. He said, nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your mind. Absolve you to yourself, and you shall have the suffrage of the world. I am ashamed to think how easily we capitulate to badges and names, to large societies and dead institutions, end quote. As I said, Emerson wasn't focused on economic self-reliance. He was focused on intellectual self-reliance. Do we do our own thinking? Do we stand on our own intellectual feet? Or do we defer to common sense, to popular opinion, or those who stand above us insisting that we defer to their title instead of to the prominence or the clarity of their argument? More than just explaining how or why, rational thinking further requires us to explain why the reasons we give are actually good or actually worth relying on for this conclusion we've developed. The fact that we were raised to believe something, or that the belief is widely held or even endorsed by those in positions of power or of a particular social group, fails the test of rational thinking. Not just any reason will do for critical thinking. We are looking for logical rather than causal explanations. We want more than a compelling story, as important as those might be. We want to touch the truth beneath the surface of what is so often treated and taken as reality itself.